Hello and welcome to another edition of the OC Varsity Gridiron Show. I'm your host, Jonathan Camus, being joined by Dan Albano and Steve Fryer. Dan, go ahead and say hi to the people.
Hey, everybody. It's football season. It's great to be with you guys again. Looking toward the third week already. This thing is it's a sprint, not a marathon. And it's been pretty exciting.
Yeah, like Dan says, third week already. Gosh darn. And we got basketball and baseball happening. Seasons are overlapping. We're pretty busy. So we're excited to be able to cover the young people again. We're really gratified to do it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And after this week, we'll already be halfway through. Oh, man, we all want more football, but we're so grateful for what we all have. And we'll probably be back in August. So it's not that big of a turnaround time. All right, guys, let's preview our game of the week. It will be a battle of two undefeated teams. I know it's early, but 2-0 Servite versus 2-0 St. John Bosco. Last season, they really had maybe one of the games of the year, guys, where Bosco beat Servite 27-26. That was the closest game that Bosco had all year. Of course, Bosco last year, CIF champs, state champs, national champs. Steve, I'll go to you first. We're going to talk about Servite. Last week, of course, Servite beat Orange Lutheran 69-13. Servite has been on an absolute roll, blowing out their last two opponents, and Noah Fafita, my goodness, this guy is elusive. So what kind of problems will the Friars present to St. John Bosco, Steve?
Well, they sure can score points in a hurry. They've outscored their two opponents 111-19. And Fafita last week was 17 for 19 for 290 yards, 4 touchdowns. And his guy, his receiver, and just throw it up in the air and let T-Mac make a play. There's some pretty cool video of Fafita escaping a tackle, heaving it up in the air, and T-Mac doing this crazy one-handed tackle with a guy draped around his other arm. It's pretty amazing. Ted Aurora McMillan, the great athlete, really fine basketball player. I'm sad he's not playing hoops, but what the heck. So anyway, Servite's just rolling the points and also taking advantage of turnovers and scoring off of turnovers. Good teams take advantage of turnovers and turn them into points. Can they do that against St. John Bosco? I don't know. St. John Bosco is pretty awesome. Dan's going to talk about them. Huge offensive line at Bosco. I watched them play this past weekend. And when they get down to business, man, Bosco's pretty tough. Pretty tall order for Servite to beat them this year. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, Dan, we'll get to you right now. St. John Bosco, what did they do last week? They defeated Santa Margarita. Dan, you were at this game, 65-28. But Jason Negro said they didn't play well from the outset the last 2 weeks. Now, if they get off to a little bit of a slow start again, Dan, against a team like Servite, will that present problems for Bosco?
St. John Bosco does not want to get off Servite because of how prolific that Servite offense is. And that's something that Bosco is trying to improve, usually start pretty well in all these big games that they've won over the years. So, for Bosco, they're very impressive with their ground attack and also their quarterback rotation is off to a really good start. So they got this 3-headed monster at running back. And, I think Servite's going to have to contend with Jabari Bates and Michael Hayes. I'm not expecting to see, Rayshawn Luke, the speedy running back out there, because he went down with an apparent leg injury last week. And with the short season, he's a very promising junior. I can't see him playing this week. So I think there'll be some precaution there. But, Servite, this is going to be a game about being physical because, you guys know about Maximus Gibbs, this kid, offensive guard at St. John Bosco, 6'7", 338, and he pulls and moves around, and that leads that great ground attack. So he's a big kid, and they got some good size up front. So I think it's a big physical challenge for that Servite lineman and Servite defense.
Trinity League football on the offensive line, you got to eat. I mean, those lines are huge. All right, guys, we're going to talk about the Sunset League now with another battle of two undefeated teams. This one will be 2-0 Edison at 2-0 Los Alamitos. Last season, guys, Edison beat Los Al 42-41. Los Alamitos is coming off a super impressive win, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Steve, I'll go to you first. Edison, they beat Newport Harbor last week pretty soundly, 47-14. Will Edison defeat Los Alamitos again, Steve, or are you seeing a bigger fight this year? What do you think as the Chargers take on the Griffins?
Well, I saw Los Alamitos play last week, and my goodness, I was totally impressed by them. I was kind of thinking maybe Los Al's might be the best public school team in Orange County, perhaps, when I saw him play. But Edison's really, really good right now. And the quarterback, Braden Boyles, last week threw for 3 touchdowns, 13 for 21 in the air. Got a great explosive receiver, Nico Brown, who had 6 catches for 111 yards and a touchdown. Some of those deep balls that Boyles threw turn out to be points. He can heave it out there pretty good. But with Nico Brown, you can just throw a little slant or a little out pattern, boom, he's going to go. So they're really good to watch too. They've scored more than 100 points over their 2 games. Pretty explosive team. Can they score that much against Los Al, which is big and fast in the backfield? Going to be a tough choice right there for Edison and how they're going to go after Los Al. Los Al looked really good last week. But Edison, pretty famous for throwing the football. Jeff Grady knows how to coach quarterbacks. Edison's really going to give Los Al a very nice challenge.
Yeah, don't forget Dave White is back there at Edison coaching up the defensive backs and acting as an assistant coach as well. Of course, the 2-time CIF champion winning head coach, Dave White. Now, Dan, Los Alamitos, they ended a super long win streak in the counties. Corona Del Mar had a 17-game win streak. Los Alamitos really pulled away. They won 52-38. Dan, you were at this game. Los Alamitos, impressive again, huh?
Oh, yeah. They scored 35 points in one single quarter, the third quarter. And it was, about in a 10-minute span or so. And it was impressive. And they got a lot of weapons. Malachi Nelson is looking great at quarterback. They got some really good receivers, and Gavin Porsche, Alex Wills, and of course, Make Lemon. So, but they're similar offensively, just like Edison. Edison is usually good at receiver, defensive back. They got a good senior quarterback. So there's a lot of skill player on that. And this would be a terrific, 7-on game. But as we know, it's not 7-on. It's in the trenches. And that's what really opened my eyes with, Los Alamitos was that front. They put a lot of pressure on Corona Del Mar and made it real uncomfortable in the pocket. And they slammed that running game. And, they, like as Coach Fenton said, they committed to stop the run, and they did against Corona Del Mar. Guys like Adam Tozak, Zeppi Misa, Sin Brennan, that defensive front. So, but, Edison's got some returners on the offensive line. So I think this game's won in the trenches because there's going to be a lot of plays. And of course, Edison, they're going to have to bring their track shoes because, those skill guys are going to have to run because, Lemon, Wills, Porsche, those guys can motor. So it's going to be a really good game.
Dan, did you say a Porsche could motor? You've never been more right.
There you go.
You've never been more right. I love it.
What every high school boy wants to talk about some Porsches. And Gavin Porsche, that guy can motor.
Oh yeah. I got some Porsches in my garage, just sitting, in my second house in Newport Beach. Steve, you've been there.
I have a Hot Wheels Porsche.
Oh, I got tons of Hot Wheels. They're all over my house. I step on them daily. Okay, guys, let's talk about the last game here, and it will be San Juan Hills at Capistrano Valley. San Juan Hills 1-0, Capo 1-1. All right, last week, Steve, we'll talk to you about San Juan Hills. They beat El Toro in their first game of the season, 48-14. They got a great combination there of a quarterback and wide receiver with Hudson Jones and Braden Pagan. The Stallions, Steve, what do you think about them on the road? Their first, I believe it's their first road game here against Capistrano Valley.
Boy, I tell you, I really like San Juan Hills. When we talked to Coach Robert Frith before the season, he was very, very confident about his football team, and I can see why. Anytime you got a returning quarterback in high school football, which Capistrano Valley has as well, it gives you a big-time advantage. Hudson Jones, a 3-year start over there at San Juan Hills, and he is a tough guy, man. I'll tell you what, he'll get hit. He keeps getting back up. Pegan had a really good game for him last week in the win over El Toro, 188 receiving yards. But the defense is really going to be the key for San Juan Hills in this game. Capistrano Valley with D'Artagnan Mocio throwing the football, one of the better returning quarterbacks in Orange County football. The key to this game for San Juan Hills is making sure D'Artagnan is not as productive as we know he can be. And I think it looks like it's going to be a high-scoring game, which is going to be a lot of fun for the people who get a chance to see this game.
All right, Dan, now it's time to talk about Capo. What did Capistrano Valley do last week? They played a good game. They were, I believe, ahead with San Clemente, but they did end up falling to the Tritons 35-24. But Capo only had 13 yards rushing, so I'm sure they want to balance that out to go along with D'Artagnan's great passing attack, right, Dan?
Even though they didn't run it well last week against San Clemente, I mean, I think they were fine. I mean, they pushed and played really well against maybe the potential South Coast League champion. We'll see. D'Artagnan showed a lot of progress, and I think he's really primed for this, all senior matchup with Hudson Jones. And I think D'Artagnan's really showed that, he's made that next step and he's more consistent. I like Capo had 7 different receivers catch the ball last week. Richardson and Benedict both had 7 apiece. So this is a great rivalry game. Capo is in the Seaview League, and here they are pushing, taking on another South Coast League team. So, it's just a challenge if they can do a back-to-back weeks. That's going to be another telling sign for the Cougars. And, I think defensively Capo, we'll see how they do defensively against that San Juan Hills running game, because San Juan Hills is kind of doing a running back by committee, I believe. They had a real good running back last year, Gaines. He's out for the year. And, they're supposed to be running back by committee. So I could see this game being won, in through the air, and how the skill guys match up defensively.
All right. That's our preview for week 3 games. We'll be back for week 4, a couple really good ones in week 4 as we head towards the halfway point of the season. Can't believe I'm saying that already. For Steve and Dan, I'm Jonathan, and check out OC Varsity for all your latest high school information regarding Orange County. Stay safe, everyone, and we'll see you at the games. It's us. We're just wearing masks, right? See you guys.
It's an improvement.
For some.